I have done such a horrible job content-wise in getting this build finished up. I did a lot off camera to the Blazer here that you guys never got to see. Today we're gonna do a final overview of the build now that it's complete. I know it's been a bit since we've seen this truck here on the channel, but it actually is 100% fully complete now. Just last weekend, I took it out to the first car show that it made, and it got a good bit of attention. It was very fun to just drive it around out there and see people kind of flock towards it, take a look at it. Unfortunately, a rookie mistake on my part, just trying to get the truck out there, as well as having a couple of other things going on in life right now. I didn't bring the camera equipment that I wanted to film all day long. All I had was my GoPro, so we have a couple of shots of me driving the truck around at the show, but not really too much more than that. The first thing we'll go over is what I did here in the rear, as that's what the last video was about. Those reef servos dropped in exactly like I had planned and talked about in that video, with more than enough power to raise the rear end of this truck now. The biggest issue I had left was figuring out a way to connect the servo horns to my cantilever arms. You can maybe see a little bit there, but I ended up using some carbon fiber to create a link. A 3D printed part just wasn't gonna work here. It wasn't gonna be strong enough. It was so short that rod ends weren't really gonna do the trick. And there's also such limited space that it needed to be something pretty thin. These little carbon pieces just work perfectly. They're plenty strong, lightweight, perfect range of motion, nothing binding up like before. You'll really be able to see what I mean here as I plug this in, get everything turned on. If you watch closely at that rear end, it just lifts up perfectly. I was able to put the speed reducers back in line with the servos to get that nice, slow, realistic looking lifting motion. I really couldn't be much more happy with this. These servos don't get hot like that other servo did. I ran this thing a good bit at the car show, and here at home, never got any sort of high temps on those servos at all. While we're here with the body off, there's something else you might have noticed. You might be wondering what this little block is here. It was a bit of trouble to get the headlights and tail lights plugged in when trying to mount the body. I just had some leads sticking out of the body that I would have to plug into the receiver each time I wanted to put it on, and that was just kind of difficult, not too easy to do. Magnetic wire connectors are nothing new. I've seen them all over an RC before, but I wasn't able to find anything to fit exactly where I wanted. So going online, I found these little bitty connectors here that I was able to put a male and female end on. So I have a lead coming off the receiver, and the other lead is coming off of my wires for the headlights and tail lights. And now when I go to drop this on, that wire just snaps directly into place. There's only one thing that the truck needs to be 100% perfect. You might notice some rubbing on the front tires here. The body is pretty thick in the front there, so as the truck's turning, I'm getting a little bit of rubbing. I'm gonna try to go in with a little sanding drum on the Dremel and sand down a little bit of that plastic, hopefully give me a little more clearance to turn while driving. The last of the new things though that you guys haven't seen yet actually involves the body. Some of you might have picked it up in some of the shots. We actually have some pinstriping on the body now. Now, this is the one thing on this truck that I didn't do myself. This actually got done at the car show. If any of you have been to a car show anywhere in the South recently, you probably ran across a guy pinstriping. He's made so many events. He calls himself Gooch Customs. I talked to him about laying a scale pinstripe on the side of the truck and also just let him do what he wanted. Although this truck has 100% been me from the get-go, I felt like just another artist's little touch like this was perfect. Something nice to finish it off. I really like what he did with the color. It ties into the interior really nicely. And he even did a little stripe on the hood, which kind of just gives it a little custom touch. In photos from the side, you won't really see it, but if I'm driving the truck around and you're looking from above, it's a nice little design. Really looks cool sitting there on the hood. So really, after so many months, I'd actually have to go back and look at when I posted that first video on the chassis of this build to see how long I've actually been working on this thing. But after so long, this build is finally fully complete. Now I just get to enjoy it at some of the car shows. I really hope you guys have enjoyed the build as well. This is by far one of the biggest challenges in building that I have gone through in RC, and probably my most proud build as well. I don't think this thing could have come out any better. I don't even think I was imagining this when I first started building this truck. Even I set myself some pretty high standards, and if this truck doesn't meet them, it clears them. Thank you guys for all the support on this build. Reading all of your comments, seeing all the likes come through really pushed me through to finish this build. I hope you all have enjoyed the videos as much as I've enjoyed making them. If by chance you're ever at a car show and see this little thing driving around, feel free to come say hi. Check it out in person. The camera really doesn't even do justice to this color. I actually worked out a little bit of a photo shoot with a friend at the car show as well, so stay tuned to my Instagram to hopefully see some of those pictures pretty soon. Make sure to like the video if you enjoyed. That always helps out on the channel. And subscribe if you can't wait to see what I build next. As always, thanks again for watching. Peace.